Point two is about dividing polynomials. And so we're going to look at how you divide a polynomial by a monomial. So just as a reminder, if you have multiple things on the top, like we do here, with one monomial in the denominator, I can separate and put this denominator underneath each of these, and then I can simplify that. So let's go ahead and separate these so we can see what this will look like simplified. And then you'll do what you already know how to do and simplify each monomial here separately. So I can simplify this 6 over 3, which is going to become a 2. And this is x to the first and y to the first. So I'll go ahead and put that there. So remember, I'm subtracting here. 4 minus 1 is 3. Those are going to go on top. And then 3 minus 1 is 2. So those are going to go on top. So I have 2x to the third plus y squared. Now I'm going to go here. I'm going to simplify the coefficients, which would be 4. And then I'm going to put a 1 with the x and the y. And then I'm going to subtract here. 3 minus 1 would be x squared on top. That's where the most are. And then y2 minus y to the second minus y to the first would just be y. And then lastly, I'm going to, again, simplify my coefficients, which would be 6. I'm going to put a 1 on both of those, and then I'm going to subtract my exponents. X to the second minus x to the first is x to the first. And then y1 minus 1 is y to the 0, which is 1. And those just cancel out. None of these are like terms, so this would be my final answer. Okay, next, this is another way to write it. But remember, if I have something to the -1, that just means that all of this is going to go to the bottom. So it'd be like writing all of this divided by 3xy. So again, I'm going to separate this into two fractions. 18x squared y over 3xy plus 27x to the third y to the second z over 3xy. And then we're going to simplify. So I'm going to start, simplify the coefficients. 18 divided by 3 is 6. X to the first minus x to the first, x to the 0, that becomes a 1. And then, oops, I forgot. Oh, that didn't write that right. Hold on. That doesn't cancel there. So that becomes x to the first. Sorry, that's x to the second, x to the first. So just an x to the first. And then y over y becomes 1, so it cancels. Plus, and then we'll simplify here. 27 divided by 3 would be 9. And then we're going to simplify x to the third over x to the first. I just subtract. That becomes x to the second. Y to the second over y to the first just becomes y when I subtract. And then I have my z here. And those are not like terms. They cannot be added together. And so there is my final answer for the second one. Now we're going to go to example 2. I don't know if I can here. Let's see. No? Okay. So example 2, whoops. Okay. So in example 2, we're going to use long division. And so here's how it's going to work. So you're going to write the first part inside the box here, and then divided by x minus 5. And so what you're going to do is you are going to figure out x times what is going to give me x squared. So x times what will give me x squared. And so we know x times x is going to give us x squared. And what we're going to do then is we're going to take this, we're going to multiply it through just like you would do when you do long division. So x times x is x squared. X times negative 5 is negative 5x. And then we are subtracting this off. But just remember, this is a quantity that we are subtracting off. So that negative or that subtraction sign has to go into both. So this becomes a negative, so those cancel, and this actually becomes a positive 5x. So now I have 8x, and then I'm going to bring down my negative 40. So now I'm asking myself, what times x will give me 8x? What times x will give me 8x? And we know that that's a positive 8. And then I'm going to multiply that through to both. So 8 times x is 8x. 8 times negative 5 is negative 40. And once again, I'm subtracting off. That's a binomial. That whole quantity I'm subtracting off. So I need to send that through to both. So 8 minus 8x is gone. This becomes a positive 40, and I have a remainder of 0. So the answer would be x plus 8. And so how could we check that? Well, x minus 5 times x plus 8, if I did FOIL of that, I should get out x squared plus 3x minus 40, which is what we started with. The next one, so I'm going to do the same thing. So we're going to get it set up here, x squared minus 13x plus 12. We're dividing by x minus 1. So again, I'm saying, what times x will give me x squared? What times x will give me x squared? And we know that that is an x. And then I'm going to take that x and I'm going to distribute it through. I'm going to multiply it. So x times x is x squared. X times negative 1 is negative 1x. And then I am subtracting off that whole quantity. So I need to take that through. So that becomes a negative. It's going to make that a positive. So then I have a negative 12x, and then I bring down my plus 12. So then I'm asking myself, x times what gives me negative 12? Again, x times what gives me negative 12? And we know that that is negative 12. And then I'm going to take that negative 12 and I'm going to multiply it into both. So negative 12 times x is negative 12x. Negative 12 times negative 1 is positive 12. And then I am subtracting that quantity off. So when I do that, distribute it through, that's going to change those signs. So my 12x's cancel and my 12's cancel, and I'm left with a remainder of 0. So my answer is x minus 12. And again, we could check that by saying x minus 12 times x minus 1 should equal this trinomial here, x squared minus 13x plus 12. That is long division. Now we're going to move to synthetic. Oh, not yet. We're going to do long division again here. So let me erase this. Okay. Let's see. Okay, so now we're going to look at long division again. And this time we're going to see what happens when you have a remainder. So again, remember to the negative 1, this just means I'm dividing by 3 minus a. So I'm going to set this up like we did our long division earlier. And I'm going to rewrite this as negative a plus 3. Okay, so first thing we ask is negative a times what will give us a squared? So negative a times what will give us a squared? And that is a negative a. And then I'm going to distribute that through. So negative a times negative a is a squared. Negative a times 3 is negative 3a. And then remember, I'm subtracting off that entire quantity. So I need to take it through here. That's a negative, that's a positive. So my a squareds cancel. 7a plus 3a is 10a. And then I need to bring down my negative 11. So now I'm asking negative a times what will give me 10a? Negative a times what will give me 10a? And we know that that is negative 10. And then I'm going to distribute that through. So negative 10 times negative a is a positive 10a. Negative 10 times 3 is negative 30. And then we're going to subtract off that whole quantity, which means I need to take it through. So that's a negative, that's going to be a positive. So my a's cancel, and I'm left with, oh, whoops, that's an 11 that I was supposed to bring down right there, not a 1. Forgot that 11. So negative 11 plus 30 is 19. So that's my remainder is 19. So you write your remainder as whatever it is over what you had out here in front, which would be that negative a plus 3. So your final answer, which we're going to rewrite it of how they wrote it at the beginning, which was, we have this negative a minus 10 plus 19 over, now I'm going to write that as 3 minus a. And so our answer will be C. So I'm going to stop there for right now, and I'm going to come back. I'm going to come back and teach this synthetic division, because this is a little different, and then I'll let you practice synthetic division when you're done.